Hello and welcome to Stories, the True and the Fiction. The podcast that revolves around one central theme, stories, and the people that tell them. We'll talk about movies, TV shows, video games, historical events, and weird news headlines. There's really no topic we won't touch. But it doesn't stop there. If you've got a story, something funny or random that may have happened to you or a friend, send it to thetrueandthefictional@gmail.com. Until then, it's story time.
An Ode to Stargate, written by J.A. Bryden, read by Chris Park. S is for Showtime, the channel that started it all. T is for Teal'c, the true god of war. A is for Ancient, a mysterious and unhelpful souls. R is for the Richu, a wondrous cost-saving group they were. G is for Guald, an enemy worthy of your respect. A is for Atlantis, a rather poorly run expedition, if I might say so. T is for Tulak, where the team first met. E is for episodes, 214, each bringing such joy. S is for the sadness that they will not return. G is for goodbyes. I believe Dr. Jackson had a third. And 1 is the number where the show will reign, now and forever. Welcome, everyone, to Stories, True and the Fictional. I am your fraudulent host. My name is Chris Park. I am here with author, writer, columnist, J.A. Bryden. How are you going, sir?
I'm going very well, and so you're my official ghostwriter now, because
More like a SEAL team writer, yes.
yeah, well, it's just like you say I've written, here's this wonderful intro, written by someone else. Like, are you ashamed of your work, or
Not at all. I'm just simply, as you said, you're not meant to say I'm your ghostwriter. You're kind of like you're behind the scenes baseballing at this whole thing.
Yeah, but no, what's going to happen? I feel like that, like, someone's going to come along and go, wow, all these things are wonderful and great. And then they're going to like stick me in the room and they're going to like, now write. They're going to be like, I don't know.
Okay, if that's the case, I think the only thing we'll do is we'll ratatouille that shit.
Oh, okay.
I will jump into your pants and then control you by pulling on your genital hair and then direct it. And then this is how we will ratatouille that shit. I'm assuming that's how that movie worked. I have not seen it. I'm just literally guessing.
No.
I'm pretty sure the mouse was under the hat, but again, I haven't seen it either. So
okay, under his hat, in his pants, pulling his genital hair, either one that will both work in that regards.
Or CIA comms in the ear, you know.
CIA comms in the ear, either way. One of those two things would probably work well. I am also here with the man who is going through the trials and tribulations of the fall of the Empire. R.D. Haig. How are you going, sir?
I'm good. Thank you for understanding my plight and for that beautiful introduction to Stargate. I've learnt more from that introduction than all of the episodes I have watched, which equals 0. So
equals 0, which does make you a traitor of the land. But again, we won't go into your treacheries and your traitorisms.
You know, Chris, it's interesting, if I just can jump in here a second, that wonderful poem, but you didn't use any of the T's for the Tari, like the humans.
Look, I'll be honest. I wrote that about 5 minutes ago.
And you didn't think of us. And
I literally was trying to find T words, and I couldn't find any.
Well,
and I was like going, shit, Teal'c. Okay, cool. And then I was like going, T's for Tulak. Yeah. But I literally forgot Tari.
But isn't it Chulak?
Chulak. Oh yeah, it's a T. It's a T.
But Teal'c always goes like, we got to go back to Chulak.
I'm pretty sure that's just his accent, but I could be wrong.
Well, they don't say the gold, right? They go Gould, gold.
Gould, gold. Like it really depends on whatever the actor felt like the morning he woke up. It was like going gold, go. It's close enough. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
This is really invigorating my interest to watch the evening.
Hey, Ryan. Now you know how it feels when you talk about wrestling.
Okay, no, fair call.
Which, funny enough, I think the reason we discovered why I don't like wrestling all that much.
Oh no, we did discover why Jamie hates wrestling, and I have to say it is actually valid.
Okay.
Tremendously. We'll talk about this, but speaking of wrestling, speaking of betrayal and pinning someone to the floor, looking to their eyes with urge, we're of course brought to you by amazing sponsor Rebecca Cassells of the Rising Dawn series, available on Amazon. If you like all those things I've just mentioned and some werewolves, please support the authors. Go check out her works, and so we can continue running the show. Also, look forward to her amazing stories of Kat Graham and Henry Cavill coming out. I believe we've actually now agreed upon a release date, at least from probably. I think we'll probably do a free chapter just to gauge people's interest.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe we are aiming for a Christmas 2023 release of chapter 1, which is called "I Think You're My Father." I'll leave it at that, and I won't spoil the synopsis.
Is that loosely modeled off our generated stories from last week?
A little bit, but
or is it off Critters' love for implied incest?
I'm not saying there's incest. I'm saying it's implied.
I still want to see this kids book about Kat Graham and the three wise Henry Cavills.
Well, if people write in and they request it, I'll read the greatest story of children's literature of Kat Graham and three wise Henry Cavills.
I just want to make that book so we can send it to them.
and honestly, if no one writes in, it'll be the greatest story that was never told.
Yes,
absolutely. And if we send them the story, we have to do it all serial killery. So we'll cut out videos from a magazine and literally something that would actually flag their security teams, like something that actually would appear to be a legitimate threat. But but then I go, it's just from fans. Like, okay, you mean
an unmarked box sitting on their desk?
I mean, if I knew where their desk was, I'd be going there, not sending them a parcel. Again,
If Chris knew where Kat Graham's desk was, he'd be naked with a little bow tie and a rose in his mouth across it every morning.
Not at all. I would paint myself like the desk and then just see if I can let's see if I can just how long I would survive. I don't think very long. Now, speaking of not surviving and not very long, Jamie, what have you been experiencing in the world of news and pop culture this weekend? Week?
Not much. Look, my Stargate watching has slowed down a little bit.
That's disappointing.
No, but I'm still pursuing.
You're still ahead of me.
Yeah, yeah, a long way. No, but look, I've been really enjoying Hawaii 5-0. But I was surprised to see Kevin Sorbo in an episode.
Oh, Hercules himself.
Hercules himself.
And the captain from Andromeda.
Yes, as a rich white man. Typical, oh, you're a nice guy, but wait, you're the villain.
Okay, anytime there's a guest starring actor, he's always the villain. I think this is known, right? This is
actually just that's pretty spot on. That's pretty spot on.
This is not anything new in the world of TV.
But I'm like Kevin Sorbo, mate. You don't play a good bad guy because we know that you're such a nice guy in real life.
He seems like a nice gentleman. So I don't buy him as the villain type.
No.
If I was to do a movie about Henry Cavill returning home from the war and after being injured and told he can never play his professional baseball career again, and he would have to go live with his father, the father would be played by Kevin Sorbo. I think that's a fine casting on that film. As he returns home, he realized, he decides to take up a job as a teacher, and then he meets the principal, Cat Graham. Okay, but I won't go further into this particular story. But Jamie, what else have you been checking out?
No, that's pretty much it. Not much this week. I've been working a lot. It's been incredibly hot, and not the Cat Graham hot. Just physical.
The bad kind of hot. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm in a a steel yard, so
that must be
pumps out even more heat.
That must be
but
hilarious.
No, pretty quiet on the front. I'm not working this weekend, so I can probably dive into. Oh no, that is the thing I watched. I just remembered. Watched the Glass Onion.
The Glass Onion.
Glass Onion, the sequel to Knives Out.
Yeah, just a big thumbs down.
Look at that. Was your expectation subverted?
No, like I honestly, there's good actors in it and there's good acting, but the story is pretty crap. It's just like the whole first half of the movie is pointless. Like it's just pointless. Like it could have started halfway through. But yeah, just goes to show that I think Rian Johnson has only made one good movie, but I can't verify that because I don't want to verify that. Yeah.
As if you went back, you might just discover that it's not as good as you think.
It is now my Schrodinger's cat, but Schrodinger's movie.
Schrodinger's movie. That's a good. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, but that's about it. I haven't done much.
What about you, Mr. Ryan?
I've been on a bit of a Guy Ritchie fix actually. After watching the Gentleman last week, which was fantastic. I went back and watched Snatch, which is the 2000.
That's a good one.
I haven't watched it in about 5 years, and to say that it holds up is an understatement.
I don't think I've ever watched that one.
No, you have. You probably it's been that long.
Do yourself a favor. If you've got Binge, it's on Binge, or Foxtel, whatever you've got. It's Brad Pitt, Jason Statham, pretty much every English actor. Brad Pitt does a fantastic Irish gypsy, I will say that. But yeah, that was great. I watched that. I actually watched Knives Out after watching The Gentleman, which I didn't mind. But now that you've watched Glass Onion was on the list, I'm afraid to go back and watch that.
Look, it was good until I thought about it. Like, because it's good performances. The acting. Well, I was going to say
it's like Ed Norton, Dave Bautista, like a lot of decent actors out there at the moment. So
yeah, it's all A-list actors.
Yeah,
and yet you're saying it's not very good.
No, well, it's because it's a bad story.
Interesting.
So I probably will still check it out.
Yeah, lower your expectations, but
I watched The Last Jedi and then I'll go and watch that.
Yeah,
because I still haven't finished The Last Jedi, so like it might be. But no, the other thing I've jumped on board, which has actually been really good, it was recommended by my dad, is new show on Paramount Plus called Tulsa King. Now this has got Sylvester Stallone.
Yes, that's the one where he's a gangster, right?
Yeah, he's a mob. He was a mob capo who just got out of jail after doing 25 years to save his boss. It wasn't a rat or anything. Gets out of jail, and his boss's son is now running the mob because his boss is very unwell.
Yep.
And they say, look, we've really got nothing for you. We're going to send you to Tulsa, and we're going to get you to start setting up a business of operations there. So this is a guy that's been in the can for 25 years, so he doesn't know what mobile phones are or all of this kind of stuff. And basically he gets sent down to Tulsa to set up an operation. He takes over a marijuana dispensary. And look, I'm 5 episodes in of the 9 episodes that are out at the moment, and it's really good. Sylvester Stallone, for a 75-year-old man, it looks fantastic. He's still, I still think he's a great actor. It's got a really good supporting cast. You'll recognize one's the high school gym coach from Spider-Man movie, the latest Spider-Man movies. It's a fantastic show. A lot of laughs, a lot of killing, a lot of just basically he's trying to turn Tulsa into. And within a couple of weeks, he's already earned more money than half the guys in New York do. So, and then he's got obviously things coming back from his past, people thinking, trying to kill him. But he's trying to get his driver's license, and he pulls up with a driver instructor, and then there's a guy pulls up in a balaclava next to him and shoots the windows out, trying to kill them both. And it's he then proceeds to do his license test by chasing down the guy and beating the crap out of him.
Of course.
Look, it's on Paramount Plus. It's definitely worth a watch. It's not the best show in the world, but I'm really enjoying it.
Okay.
That's about all from me, aside from my, normal 14, 15 hours of wrestling a week.
Of course.
That's about all I've been watching. Oh, I finally finished the Aliens movies. I did get suckered in to watch Alien Resurrection, and I think I've done better turds in that movie.
We warned you thusly.
No, I know. But look, I thought, as I said, it's one of those things. I should suffer through it. It was complete and utter rubbish, but then luckily Prometheus and Covenant redeemed itself.
Well,
I enjoyed Prometheus and Covenant.
Is Prometheus the one with Charlize Theron?
No, Prometheus is the one that in the first Aliens movie, the ship that they originally get the facehugger from, that's the Prometheus ship. I don't think she was in it. If she was in it, she was pretty much unrecognizable. It's the one with Fassbender in it.
Yeah, I think Charlize Theron was in that.
Okay, there you go.
And she gets crushed by the Rolly ship.
Oh yes,
was that her? There you go.
No, the Prometheus school of running away from things, which is just
running in a straight line, not in an angle.
rather than running sideways, which means you'd avoid it altogether. Yes, the infamous Prometheus school of running away from things.
Yeah.
After watching Resurrection, it was a masterpiece.
Yep. And look, after that, I can understand that. So I'll let you on my journey this week. This week was sad for me, and this is why I wrote the poem, because I did finish the Stargate rewatch, including the final movies to sort of close off this series, and then it was sad because I don't think the show was finished. After season 10 was there. They had a great new villain. Who doesn't like evil Jehovah's Witnesses that going around the galaxy converting or basically converting or burning or destroying the civilization? It was it was great new cast that was sort of coming along. It got cancelled, and so that was obviously they at least finished it with some movies to sort of wrap up the main storylines. But Atlantis, I've also finished Atlantis. That one didn't get the same treatment, so that one just really just abruptly ended. That was really funny, just sort of watching it. Then I was like, yep, okay. And then,
what did you think about? I think it was the second last episode. It was like CSI or something.
Yeah, that was weird. And like if they knew that they were getting cancelled, they probably would have spent more time creating like a finale. Yeah. But it was very clear that they thought they were going to get a renewal, and so that's
because they got a track record of getting a renewal. But who would have thought? Who would have thought that the Sci-Fi Channel would cancel Stargate for wrestling?
And there comes to the point where we want to talk about, which is essentially so. Jamie, Sci-Fi canceled two of the greatest series of sci-fi television. But what did they cancel this for, Jamie? If you can recall,
it was wrestling. Not alien people dress up as aliens wrestling, like not like some deep sci-fi show involving people getting half naked and hugging violently and throwing not chairs, maybe like some alien architecture,
alien chairs,
alien chairs at each other. No, it was just wrestling, and I'm going like.
What year was this? What year was it canceled?
Oh, it would have been 10 years ago, maybe. No, well, Stargate started in 97.
Yeah.
So it would have been 2008, maybe.
No, it's 2000.
Okay, so they would have canceled it.
2007. when it got
They would have
got
cancelled
cancelled.
it for the revival of ECW, I'm guessing,
Yes,
because
that
that was
is
what was on the
correct.
Sci-Fi Channel around about that time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and look, if it makes you feel any better, Jamie, it was shit.
Of course it was. One of my favorite sci-fi shows of all time. And
But also, like, it was the Sci-Fi Channel,
yes.
and then they went, you know, it's more, you know, what sci-fi fans love wrestling. It's like, since when?
It made no sense. This sci-fi channel needs wrestling. And I'm like, shouldn't the wrestling be on a wrestling channel or something? You know?
No. They're back in those days. There was no such thing. There was USA Network had Raw. So I think Fox had SmackDown, and then the short-lived 2-year run of the revived ECW came out on Sci-Fi.
I mean, to put it in perspective for you, Ryan, it'd be like you watching the Shudder. Is that the horror streamer streaming service? Shudder, and you're scrolling through, and then you find I don't know, The Wedding Singer on there. You're just like, this does not.
Only I would have the option not to watch it, whereas you didn't. That you just got it ripped from your. But speaking of Stargate, what about that other SG Universes or something? Like, wasn't there another
the series
show?
that kind of made no sense?
Yeah,
Okay.
they tried to continue on after they cancelled, you know, the 2 shows that made sense and the shows that worked. They decided to make the show that made absolutely no sense. Stargate Universe is the one you're talking about, obviously.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Yeah.
And
did it only last 1 season?
I think it lasted 2 seasons. I'm not sure how. I think it's because it was contracted. They had 2 seasons, so they did 2 seasons. I'm not sure. Who knows how? Yeah. But yeah, and that was basically the death. That was the death nail into the coffin. Apart from also then Apple wanting to then, you know, continue on with season 11, and then for some reason Sci-Fi saying no, we own it, so we're not going to let you do that because we're Sci-Fi, which again, selling off Stargate would have made sense, but you know, whatever. Yeah. That is it. So after I had finished watching Stargate, I started the series Andromeda with Kevin Sorbo. I actually stopped, not because it's terrible. It's because it's the wrong show to pick up after Stargate. Because one had a fairly decent sized budget, one didn't. So I've decided I do want to watch that show because there's 5 seasons. There's obviously something.
Isn't that a Gene Roddenberry's one as well? Is it Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda, the guy that came up with Star Trek? From memory?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I'll Google it.
We'll Google that. But then I continued on with also on Paramount Plus, the Jason Boreanaz led Navy SEALs television series. That's quite. Do you
mean David Boreanaz?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, I'm with you now. Yeah.
You know what? All things considered, not a terrible show. So I've been watching that whilst I can sort of as a bit of a palate cleanse before I go back and try to finish watching Andromeda.
Yeah. No, so Andromeda is Gene Roddenberry.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I thought so.
He's like,
fantastic.
Hey, do you guys like Star Trek? Well, this is my other show that's not like it.
That's how they actually build it. They actually build it as Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually a fairly cool concept where the captain is, the captain's from this amazing civilization, like the system's Commonwealth, where they're basically, they're the expanding system. They have laws. It's all just, and everything's great. They get attacked by his ship gets attacked by an alien, betrayed by one of his crew members, and they hit the species attack his ship. His ship gets stuck into a black hole, and then he gets frozen in time for 300 years, and then his ship then sort of gets dragged out because they think they're going to sell the salvage. They realize, it's just it's an AI ship, so they can't really sell it. Does what the commander tells it, and then it's all about him trying to basically, with a new crew of people who don't quite understand, trying to reforge, the system's Commonwealth and bring peace, justice, and civilization back into a wild universe. So it's a very cool idea. They just don't have the budget for that idea, like clearly.
Yeah.
But again, I've only seen the first episode, so I will, get palate cleanse and then come back into this because I think it's worthwhile.
Pilots weren't really strong back then.
Yeah.
if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. You can tell by around anything from around the early 2000s. You watch the pilot and then you notice a significant increase in like CGI.
Yeah, that's true.
It's because the pilot is supposed to be the pitch. So
exactly.
They film it and then they send it to people and go, hey, what do you think of this idea? That's why the very first episode of Scrubs, the hospital isn't even painted properly yet. You can tell it's like, they've just bought the hospital.
Well, whereas nowadays people just go into an office or a meeting or a Zoom and say, this is my idea. And they go, here's $100,000, make the episode and then we'll watch it. And then, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Or Amazon. We want to do a Lord of the Rings show, but here's $500 million.
And it's like, how can we make it terrible?
Well, we won't involve Peter Jackson.
We won't involve anyone that knows a thing about the law. And and then we create our own thing and then slap the Lord of the Rings label on it. People won't know the difference. They notice the difference.
Yeah.
But which is that's Jamie.
Yes, I know. And now I'm having mixed feelings about the Last of Us show because they kept saying the right things and then they kept saying the wrong things.
Like, what do you mean?
Like the right things, it has an ending. Like they have an ending in mind. They're not going to milk it for 10 years, so they have an ending.
Mm-hmm.
But however, there's one site that I trust and has been infallible, and they've watched the first season of The Last of Us, and they're saying it's the best video game adaptation.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. But then I heard that they made a significant change to the law, and that's what I'm worried about.
Well, guess what? We get to find out from Monday. So
I will check it out. I'll see how it goes. But
look, the trailer's giving me all the right feelings.
Yeah, well, it looks visually great.
Yeah.
But
and I've actually just completed a playthrough recently in the last 6 months of the first game again, so it's fresh in my mind.
Yeah, so that's probably not what you should have done.
Yeah, that was a bad idea. I honestly think that was was a bad idea.
Like
it had been a while since I'd played it.
Yeah, but now it's fresh in your mind.
Now it's fresh in your mind, and yet you're going to be like comparing it.
Yeah, that was a terrible idea.
But look, I'm keen. It's starting on Monday, I believe, on Binge. So I'll definitely be checking it out. At least the first season. Try and going in with an open mind.
Yeah, but like they said, that it's not built for. They're not going to do like The Walking Dead.
Of course, yeah. Because that, as I said, The Walking Dead lost me at season 6 or something or whatever. It was just, it was a show that went on for way too long.
Yeah, 100%. Now they're doing want to do all these spin-offs and all that.
I agree.
Yeah,
terrible show. Lost me in season 1.
Anyway, as you know, Chris, I like getting weird news, and I like getting weird news from Florida.
Outstanding.
So I think I'm going to throw a segment in every now and again of news from Florida.
Outstanding.
So I got this article here, and I just want you to paint a picture for me, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
I'll lay it out for you. Okay. Yep. The headline is naked man caught on camera climbing a tractor trailer on the Florida interstate.
Mm-hmm.
So this old fat guy is naked, and he's he's on the back of one of those, like a semi bit with it's like an open flat trailer.
Yeah.
The incident happened on June 30th on the Interstate 75 in Sarasota County after deputies were called about a naked man running in and out of traffic. Photos showed the man wearing nothing but shoes and socks climbing on the back of a truck. The man, who was not identified, was taken off the tractor trailer and taken into protective custody, according to the Sarasota county sheriff's office. He was later transported to a hospital for a mental evaluation.
You see, that's what they're trying to tell you, but that's obviously not what happened.
So are you thinking Terminator?
This is 100% a Terminator scenario. This is 100%. This man was sent back in time. Now, how time travel works in this particular universe, which is Earth, our current universe, is you can't teleport yourself back in time because the matter stream is too much. But you could transport your exact consciousness back in time to an ancestor or bloodline. So Commander Ryan of the Earth Galactic Alliance, leader of the free men, the leader of the savior of the world, has now fought 7 battles against the Syndicate and 7 victories. However, they need to tip the scales, and currently he's realized there's a low population that happened around 2023 where people just stopped having children and started paying for OnlyFans subscriptions instead, killing off the human race. He had to go back in time to warn humanity so they can have more soldiers, have more resources, and he needs to finally tell them that once they elect Elon Musk as ruler of Earth, everything gets a lot better. Yes, Elon rises to power through his military coup once he puts microchips in everyone's head. But if the transition happened earlier, they might stand a chance against the evil alien syndicate. So he transports back in time. Having said that, he didn't realize the problem with his bloodline, his ancestry, and time travel is very disorienting. So as soon as he's there, he puts on his shoes and socks and runs out the door trying to find. Because Earth's maps, what he had was so old, what he thought he was running to was the Galactic Congress, where the newly formed president, at the time, the newly formed president, Ron DeSantis, moved to the White House too. He thought he was going there, but obviously there was a miscommunication in the maps, and he found himself running on the highway. So he ran up to a truck and said, as a member of the Galactic Union, I seize this transport in the name of, and he just says his rank, and they all think he's crazy. Cops come, and he's trying to tell them everything, but because he's still suffering from time dilation, he's still suffering from that effect. He sounds like a crazy, absolute lunatic. Putting this man in jail has now doomed us once again. I guess we should all be saying, all hail the syndicate. We believe in the Hive Queen now. Thank you very much, Florida police, for dooming us all.
Look, that makes perfect sense. It's like you wrote the article yourself.
I mean, clearly these people have never read science before, or a shred of science, and they would have realized.
Well, yeah. Well, we do know how the media operates. It's like this happened. Quick, how can we explain it? Make it, throw people off.
Yeah, look, I know they were trying to throw people off because obviously, with this time traveling technology, we know the syndicate's doing the same thing. Having said that, they've probably got a little bit better version where they're not transporting they've done some research to find the right bloodlines, and this is how the war starts.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Do you agree with that, Ryan?
I can no longer confirm or deny.
Oh, are we talking to future Ryan?
Death to the syndicate. Death to the queen.
It definitely sounds like a movie that I would like to watch, but I can neither confirm nor deny the existence of said syndicate or possible oncoming wars.
So we're going to talk to James Cameron when he's finished making 8 movies about blue aliens.
As long as it finishes with Captain Planet, I don't mind.
Captain Planet.
Yes, once the fire Navi add their power to the.
All right. One more, because this one's interesting, but it's not Florida. Mysterious antennas keep appearing near Salt Lake City, and nobody knows what they're for or who is putting them up. Basically, the local council is going and taking down these antennas. It's what are they made of? Laura fiberglass antenna, a locked battery pack, and a solar panel to power it. But
yes.
No one knows what they're for or who's putting them up.
You see. Again, this is the media, but this time this is this is one of the things where it is now sort of a government conspiracy. What these things are, there is another group of aliens out there but they need Earth to be at a certain dimensional rift. And so they're sending these what they call spires down to Earth, and as they strike the Earth, they are then trying to invade our planet. They talk about they just simply remove them, these sheriffs. No, these are an elite special forces unit, because once they touch the spire, they are transported to the aliens' world, to the exact spot where their spire is, and they must then defuse it, defeat it, and destroy it. But that is a gateway battle where certain soldiers must hold off these alien hordes from rushing towards the spire to transport to Earth, whilst then their crack science team, led by Kat Graham, with her and her friend Dr. Henry Cavill, have to then defuse and sever the connection. Now, this is a one-way trip, and these Marines and SEALs and scientists know that they can't. Once they've severed that connection, they can go back. Then, yes, the sheriff's department, quote unquote, pulls these antennae from the ground safely. Little do they know the cost of lives spent to ensure that humanity remains the dominant species on this planet.
Well done.
Yeah, look, I just think it's groundhogs wanting to watch football, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, there's also that. There's also the possibility that there are a bunch of animals who are trying to steal cable. Again, I'm not ruling that out as you know.
Yeah, well, they say Occam's razor.
So, dimensional war or groundhog stealing cable. Okay, yeah. One or the other.
Yeah. But that's it for weird news. If you guys have any weird news, you can send it to thetrueandthefictional@gmail.com. But for now, what do you say we move on to the topic at hand?
The topic at hand, or as Jimmy likes to call it, the hand topic.
Well, no, both work.
Because you like doing things with your hand on your topic. You like gripping your topic.
I like gripping my
moving
topic.
your hand up and down that topic, don't you, Jamie?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Well, then tell us, Jamie, of this topic.
well, we're going to talk about the dreaded reboots. Maybe, the dreaded 15, 20 year later sequels. Because some work, some don't. Some are good, some are bad. Yeah, so we're going to talk about that.
Outstanding. Now, Jamie.
Yes.
As you realize, Hollywood has lost all concept of good ideas, or at least new ideas.
Yeah.
And I do believe we are somewhat to blame with the rise of the superhero franchise, where there used to be things called mid-tier movies where they weren't exactly they weren't like $100 million blockbusters. They were $20 million, and they still made it to cinema, and they still were very good. We seem to have just lost these kind of films, and given the rising cost of movies, you can see why studios are sort of sticking to these tentpole, dimensional rift alien type franchises. So do you believe that we are somewhat the cause for the rise of the reboot?
Yes and no, but I think it's the nostalgia thing they're trying to play on.
The 100% it is.
It's like, oh, do you remember that? Oh, do you remember that? And instead of probably like re-releasing it in the movie theater, in 4K or whatever, they go, oh, let's remake it. But then you ask yourself the question: was the original good? Because I think that's one of the problems. Like, I think the best reboots that work are ones that didn't perhaps land the first time.
100%.
That's what you should do. Can we do it better? Instead of, replicating, just what Disney's doing, let's just do live action everything.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, is that really making it better?
But playing devil's advocate, they've tried to do new ideas, and not really new ideas. I'm not sure how you call it. They've tried to take existing franchise and put their new ideas, and everyone hated it. So they've obviously realized that was a bad mistake. Hopefully,
yeah.
So, and with that whole Disney remake thing, there were some films where they basically did shot-for-shot remake, Beauty and the Beast, and they made like $1.1 billion. And then people said, don't do that. That's dumb. because that's just a shot remake. And so they did
No.
Aladdin, which was completely different, and they said, "Hey, that's not like the original. Go back to the original."
No.
It's like going, you can't win with that in that scenario.
Yeah, no. But like in Devil's Advocate with Beauty and the Beast, they didn't just do shot for shot. They extended it, like they added stuff and they fleshed it out a bit more. Because I watched them back to back. I think I watched the Beauty and the Beast, the live action, and then I rewatched the original cartoon, and the cartoon wasn't as full as the live action.
Yeah, and look, I think that's a good example of a good reboot. Not so like I would classify that really as a remake as well, because you're looking at that era of Disney cartoons came out anywhere between the 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
You know, and where technology was limited. And then so you've got something like Beauty and the Beast, which I went and saw at the cinemas and I thought was fantastic. And honestly, they were able to do a little bit more, but they didn't go in the direction where a lot of reboots go, in which let's just go balls to the wall, which show we've got all this CGI and we can do all this stuff. Whereas Beauty and the Beast just tweaked it a bit and said, okay, we've got this new technology. Let's do a little bit. Let's just enhance the original experience rather than just blowing it completely out of proportion.
Yes, let's enhance it with Luke Evans.
Oh, definitely.
Luke Evans enhances everything. Still one of the most underrated films in Dracula that he was in.
Yeah.
And also just in that performance was just absolutely fantastic. Again, solid actor all round.
100%.
Hugely underappreciated. So look, maybe that then would you say it comes down to casting then as well? Obviously that plays a huge part of it.
There can be good casting and it can still be a crap movie.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, name. Okay, what's a reboot then that you would say had good casting but ended up being crap then, or reboot or remake?
In my opinion, well, I've got one off the top of my head. This might not be on your guys' radar because it's a horror, but the fact that the Stephen King It reboot. So the original came out in the late 90s. It was amazing. It was more of a mini series. And then with pretty much no-name actors back then. There was one or two people that you'd seen before. Then we get the Stephen King It chapter 1 and chapter 2. You've got people like what's his name? I'm sorry, I'm having a mental blank. The new second Professor X. You know who I'm talking about?
McAvoy.
McAvoy.
Like it was filled with actual people. Oh yeah, I know this person. And even the kids section, because if you don't know the movie it sort of switches back between kids and adults. There was a few kids from the Stranger Things that were in playing the children. And that casting, when the casting got announced, it should have been an amazing, but I cannot make it through. Both I've tried multiple times, and it is my favorite Stephen King story. I watched the original hundreds and hundreds of times. Tim Curry as Pennywise the Clown was fantastic. And even look, you've got Bill Skarsgård, who is from the amazing Skarsgård family, and as Pennywise, but I just couldn't get through it because they went balls to the wall. We're going to get rid of the story from jump scares, and that's where it fell down. And with that cast, it should have been a masterpiece. And I was really, really disappointed in both part 1 and part 2.
I think that's a good example because you never really think about it, but most horror movies, or the good ones, were made on a budget.
Yeah,
so they had to rely on atmosphere. They had to, sometimes I think, having too much money does hinder your creativity.
Definitely.
And so then now they've redone it again. They've hired, the A-list cast, but then they've forgotten what makes the story work, which is, building the suspense, that sort of stuff. So I think that's a very good example, actually, of an expensive reboot.
It lost
with
its
great
magic.
Actors, but still lost its magic. Jamie, do you have one? Did you want to talk about?
Probably Total Recall.
Yep, 100%.
Oh my
100%.
goodness, yes.
Brian Cranston, Kate
Yep.
Beckinsale,
Beckinsale.
Colin Farrell.
Jessica
Mm.
Biel, Bill Nye, yeah.
Colin, you're forgetting Arnie's counterpart, Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell. Well, I'm so
Oh,
about Colin Farrell.
okay, fair
I'm
enough.
very select. Look, Colin Farrell in the Batman. Mwah, you know.
He was really great in The Gentleman as well that I recently watched.
Yeah.
He does.
It depends on the role.
Okay.
All I can remember is him from Daredevil.
Yeah, Bullseye. He was the most comic accurate character in that movie. The
I just remember
Bullseye
that
with the
being
tattoo and
just-
everything.
Just terrible, and I can't like
Yeah.
again.
Hey, I didn't say it was good. I just said it was the most comic accurate.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Jamie, that's a very, very good example because
Yeah, it is.
But what would you think about then say Blade Runner 19, like the new one?
Well,
Would you put that to the same?
no, well, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. Like, I mean, look,
But that also wasn't a remake. That was a continuation.
that was a late sequel,
A late
Yeah.
sequel.
which we can touch on in this as well, because I consider that like similar. But no, look, my biggest gripe with Blade Runner 20, whatever it was,
2049.
is that it takes so long for a scenes change. It's like the transition shots. It's like, and it's like for 4 minutes. I remember watching that movie going like, this movie could have been like an hour shorter and you wouldn't have lost any plot.
That's with a lot of his films.
Yeah, I know. But I'm just like,
That's actually with most of his films.
Yeah.
But do you think there are any good reboots? Where did you stand on Rise of the Planet of the Apes? Let's talk about the Planet of the
Yeah,
Apes for a second.
100%. That was an
Free
amazing
trilogy.
trilogy.
yeah, that's on my list. Yeah, Rise, Dawn. I wasn't really fussed about the first one.
But to Ryan's point, that was one that was done so long ago that obviously, but they did have also a failed attempt with Mark Wahlberg at the reboot.
They did. That was in 2001.
Yeah.
And then nothing came of that. But
Yeah.
I honestly think I was okay with the first. The first one was basically your setup film.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like with the Spider-Man where there had been 10 years. It
Yeah.
was like 50 years since the proper, first Planet of the Apes film. So
Yeah.
I'll give him that. I'll
Mhm.
give him that because that was Matt Ryan,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Or Matt Reeves or whoever it was.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
the guy.
yeah.
The guy who did the Batman.
Batman, yeah, Matt Reeves. And I'll give him that because that while it was still quite action packed, you have to set the scene because you've got
Yeah.
whole people that didn't understand. But there's that second and third one.
Yeah.
Far out, man.
The second one got me. So I was just like jaw dropping. This is insane.
Yeah.
Andy
The
Serkis.
whole scene of them riding the horses into
Yeah.
Gary Oldman's, like just literally, man, and it's just
Yeah, but I'm sitting there. I'm going. I should be laughing at this.
yeah.
Like,
But it was you
but
didn't
it's-
feel like it, yeah.
no, it was intense.
You
It's
should
like-
be
and
laughing at it because it's ridiculous. When you think
No.
about the concept, it's like going, "That's insane."
No,
but
but
you're right.
it's like the video you showed me one time, Chris, of an actual monkey getting its hands on a gun.
Yes, that was hilarious.
and they're laughing. They're going, ha 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 ha, ha, monkey has a gun, and then the opens fire.
Yeah. Then the monkey figures out the trigger, and then the laughing is not so much laughing.
Yeah.
But
No,
I
but-
think that trilogy is absolutely solid. I
Yeah.
I rewatched it recently in the last couple of months, and yeah, like that to me is a good reboot.
No, yeah, fantastic.
And I'll even go and you guys know I'm not completely biased anymore, but I enjoyed the Jumanji, the new Jumanji movies. I
will say I did enjoy that movie. Yes.
And I
Yeah.
think that was because of the cast, and the story was good too. And they did the thing. Okay, so the first one was a board game.
Yeah.
Let's bring it into the future. It's a video game. I'm on board with that because
Yeah.
you know what I mean. It's still, and I think it's the combination of Jack Black, Karen Gillan, Kevin Hart, and Dwayne Johnson. They play off each other. Jack Black
Yeah.
he's the most convincing teenage girl that I have ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
And they're good. You know, they're good adventure
Yeah.
films.
Yeah.
And I think that was done with class and respect to the originals. And I think that's what we got to touch on. It's all about the
That's a
respect.
great.
to the,
Yeah, do you want
to
to just
the
touch on that a little bit, Ryan? Because I think you hit the nail on the head pretty much there, right? Like in that absolute sentence, in terms of what makes when we look at them, what makes them good, what makes them bad. It's very straightforward. Yeah. Ryan, take it away.
Yeah, look, it's all about, it's the same with how I feel about your comic book movies and all. It's respect to the source material, and when you're talking about reboots, it's respect to what came before. So with movies like Jumanji and Planet of the Apes and all those kind of movies that have a special place in our hearts because we grew up when the originals came out. Maybe not Planet of the Apes, but like Jumanji and Transformers and all these kind of movies. You got to respect what came before. You got to respect where it came from, because you got to, like, you're doing a reboot, and which means that most of the original thinking is out the window. You're just expanding on an idea that was created before. And if you don't respect what came before, it's never going to be successful.
No, I think that's, you've hit that pretty much spot on. Is the ones that I don't think there's nothing inherently wrong with just reboots, reimaginings, blah 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 blah. I know that some people say like, oh, there's too many of them. Yes, sure, but as we've said before, there's also just a financial side to the business where someone could spend millions of dollars to make something completely new, but because it's got no foundation behind it, the chances of it failing are much, much, much higher.
Yeah.
Actually, the chance of failing is probably going to fail, because essentially, and you see that all the time with you think about what they've picked recently in terms of movies, like that's why I think as well. Avatar has done quite successful. The new one is because it's not a superhero film.
No,
and then just by virtue of it not being a superhero film, it's people are going, okay, we need to support this. So then other non-superhero films. Look, I love superhero films. I'm not saying anything bad about it, but I'm just saying if you go to the cinema and every single film's a superhero film, that's a problem. It means the ideas are failing.
Yeah.
But working with established IPs is it's safer. And I know people try to work with established IPs, then try to add their own twist to it. Lord of the Rings, and then you can see where they fail, because to Ryan's point, they're not respecting a source material. Now, let's go around the room and talk about something that we'd actually want them to do a reimagining or remake. Ryan.
Oh wow. Okay. I'm just you might go to Jamie first. I might have a little bit of a think about it.
Yep,
well,
Jamie.
I got a few, but the one that stands out the most to me is an old show called The Pretender.
Oh yeah.
Now that's still pretty good, but it's this kind of show you could build on, you could expand more. So it's basically, I think I spoke about it before, but he's essentially like got the brain of Mike Ross from Suits, but probably much more kind of like amped up a little bit more. So he's kidnapped by maybe, I don't know, is it a rogue government agency or are they a private group, Ryan?
I think it was a private like your big corporation. From memory. I mean, this is going back, man. I used to watch
you're stretching his memory
on Channel 7. On Channel 7, but I think it was a private firm.
Yeah, and they used to do psychological experiments on them, like thought experiments, and they'd actually use them to plan assassinations and do wacky weird stuff. But he basically escaped, grows up, then escapes, and he just goes around helping people. So it's like an episodic thing. Each episode's a different story, but then there's that they're trying to catch him, they're tracking him down, but they're always one step behind. But it was very creative, and it's one of the shows that just stuck with me. While it's good, I think that they could build on it, build on the universe a bit more.
That's a good one. I think that's a very, very good one. So,
Yeah.
Ryan, are you ready, or shall I go?
Look, just one movie that I figure, and this, if they do remake this, I want it to be remade with more respect to the source material.
Mhm.
Having read the book and seen the movie,
Yep.
look, the movie's a great movie, but I would love them to actually get it right and do I Am Legend more accurate to the
Interesting.
source material.
Can you
Because
elaborate that on a little bit?
well, basically, the book it develops into obviously you can only adapt a book to a 2-hour movie, but the book was more like it went into more of the lore behind it. It went into more of there was more survivors. Obviously, we see that at the end of the movie, but it was
Yep.
more about the character that Will Smith plays interaction with some survivors, and obviously so they've created some militia groups as well, and working with them to take down, the vampiric creatures as well. But I don't want to spoil it for too many people, but there are a lot. I do recommend the book highly. There are quite a lot of changes in what happened, and they actually did shoot 2 endings to the movie, which is available on the Blu-ray and the 4K release. But look, that I feel like I know, unfortunately, they are making a sequel, which is supposed to be coming out in 2024 with Michael B. Jordan in that movie. So obviously we probably won't get it, but if you do look it up online, you'll see quite significant differences between the book and the movie. Again, that was just look, it was a great movie, but it didn't do the book justice at all.
Yep, that's a good one. I'm not familiar with the source material, so what you're suggesting though does sound a little bit more a very different story to what they sort of did as a film. And so because it's such a different story, I don't think people would feel that it's like, just another reboot or remake, because, it's very different tone, because they're saying, hey, it's more like true to the source material. I think that's a good idea. I think that's good.
And look, they could even go and do like a HBO, not HBO, like they could do it as a Netflix series or something.
Yeah.
Not Netflix.
Expand it a
HBO's
little
right,
bit. Even one series would probably like make it one of those mini series that they do. But I feel like while it was a great movie at the time, it could have. There was so much more expansion that could have definitely been done.
No, that's a good one. And is there another one you were thinking of as well, Ryan?
Yeah, 100%. And I don't know why I didn't think of it sooner, and it just clicked into my head. Give me a goddamn good Spawn movie.
Oh,
aren't they doing one?
Look, it's been discussed for goddamn years.
I have the original on DVD, and I did watch it the other day. And whilst it has its moments, but just give me. That was done with pretty bad technology.
It was.
And look, just give me Spawn. I don't understand why it has not been done. I mean, the animated series is amazing.
It's fantastic. Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, just give me a Spawn movie, please.
With that one, I find that really funny with that one, because right now they're going, oh, there's not enough like black superheroes. They're going, and yet you ignore one of the greatest of them all constantly.
Yep.
Like literally, like you're going, oh, we should have more like people representation, and we have more superheroes with good representations. Going, hi, there's this thing called Spawn. Have you heard of it?
No,
Simmons,
that's the problem, Chris. They say, what's Spawn? You know what I mean? It doesn't have 75 titles that come out every week. It's only got one that comes out a month. And with the attention span of a lot of, I don't want to go on an old man rant, but the attention span of most of the readers at the moment, they don't.
As Jennifer Lawrence said, she's the first female action star ever. So
yeah, of course she is. Yeah, 100%.
So like again,
just ignore, Sigourney Weaver, or let's just ignore
Kate Beckinsale, Mila.
Oh yeah, Mila Djokovic, or however you say it.
Her bazillion films. Yeah.
Give me Spawn. That's all I'm saying.
In her defense, like she just quickly browsed through her own DVD collection.
Give me Spawn with Idris Elba.
Idris, Would he be too
Oh,
old for the role?
no.
No.
No, because you got to remember, Al Simmons was, I think he was in his 40s when he was killed by his partner and then dragged down to hell. But he's covered up most of the time anyway.
Oh,
So
that's true. Yeah, it could be anyone in the suit.
Idris Elba can pull it after seeing him in Suicide Squad. He could quite easily pull it off.
Yep, and great character.
Yeah.
You know,
And look, you've got the Violator, you've got all of the
Redeemer.
CGI. Yeah, 100%. Like it's just give it to me. They won't, but just give it to me.
I'm going to mention some obvious ones, and then I'm going to mention a weird one. Just to go, obvious one. I think it's time that Conan makes a return. Not Arnold Schwarzenegger's Conan. I want real Conan from the real Ronnie Howard's Conan. That sort of whilst Schwarzenegger's movie was good at the time, and whilst Jason Momoa's movie was fine, I think that I think we want to see a real Conan. And obviously, if we were casting this now, I would say Henry Cavill would potentially make would make a fine.
Isn't he
Conan.
doing Highlander?
Well, I mean, again, he could also do Conan. I think he could. I think he could.
Well, so basically, he's going to be the new Rock. Like every film's filmed in the jungle, but with Henry, every film he's holding a sword and
without a shirt on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm 100% behind that.
Yep. Obviously, co-starring Kat Graham. I think we'll find some role for her.
She could be the busty barmaid in the tournament.
Yep.
The tournament bar.
I would cast her as Red Sonja, but then I think a lot of people would get really upset because of like, we need red hair.
If you're going to do Red Sonja, you need a massive. No, when I say massive, I mean you need a woman that can hold herself. You know what I mean? Like
Gina
you need a. Yes, yeah.
No, true. Because she is a warrior of Kat could hit the gym. I don't deny that.
It's not. There's not enough time. I'm sorry, mate.
You're putting a lot. Would you let her wear the Zachary Levi muscle suit? Chris?
No, 100% no.
No.
Okay, Jamie. If you see how much clothes Red Sonja actually wears, you can't wear a bodysuit.
No.
If it's green, then they can CGI skin tone.
But yeah, look, I definitely would need someone in the realm of Gina Carano for sure.
Or I think that there'll be a fine one for any of the WWE stars.
Yeah.
Someone they've got the muscular physique. I think we'd have to teach them some acting.
I could see like a Charlotte Flair. If she's very athletic, very muscular. I could see her, but I don't think she'd dye the hair because that's a signature Flair.
I mean, Red Sonja, I think.
Yeah,
you'd have to have the hair.
100%. It has to be red.
Yeah. We could also cast Emma Heard, but then again, we could figure it.
As long as there was no speaking lines. So
or romantic stares.
Or romantic stares, yes. Or unless you want to do a full CGI kiss, then yes, we could absolutely let's do Emma Heard. Now, the other one, which is very obvious for me, which obviously we want more Stargate in this world.
That's on my list.
The thing that I have had this conversation with Jamie in a heated debate. Would you go for a continuation or a reboot on Stargate? And that's
it's tough.
It's tough because, as I said to Jamie, where they left it off in the series, Earth was basically like the new Asgardian race. We had all the technology, we had ships, we had solutions for literally everything. And so I think if you're doing a new Stargate, you'd almost have to start fresh again. Same concept, SG-1 going at the galaxy, fighting aliens, blah, blah, blah. But you'd have to start again, I think.
Well, can I ask a Stargate question? Where was it set in the history of the world? Like, obviously, it's in the future.
Current times.
Current time. No, it's current time.
Oh, in current times. Okay. All right. Okay.
Yep,
yeah, then you definitely have to do a you'd have to start from scratch.
Yeah.
Start from scratch, yeah.
It was so well done because it was played like it's actually happening. It's a secret project. No one knows about it.
Yeah.
And, occasionally things would happen, like a space battle above Antarctica. And then someone would catch something on their, like this rich guy caught he caught some of it on his personal satellite, and then they got to hush him, kind of.
They had to Men in Black neuralize him.
Well, in one time they half reported by just hitting him, killing him with a car.
No, cool.
Having said that, the Air Force guy was like going, "No, we absolutely did not do that." And then you saw Jack O'Neill, like MacGyver's face. He gave him a look like, "I know you did it. Like I know that's how you hushed him." It was very cool. It was a very good episode. That one.
They played the civilian and military, well, the Stargate program very well. How they handle that.
I would say definitely reboot. Start again.
Yep,
current time, 2023.
Or like I've said, and for some reason Chris isn't on board with this, medieval Stargate, because they have verified that the Goa'uld came and took people from medieval times.
But they couldn't win. That's the reason why I say they.
But don't you like a poke the bear kind of?
Look, you can kill. Like that's an old saying. It's not like there's a saying that I think I can't remember if it was from a TV show. It's like killing a bear with chopsticks. I'm not saying it's impossible. It's just really difficult. But this would be the same thing with knights defeating Goa'uld.
Yeah, but Chris, the season series finale would be like 300. But the fight that you would inevitably lose.
One has energy weapons. One can barely understand the world is round. So again, the Now, what would make more sense is a Queen Victoria era Stargate where basically muskets, and they just essentially at that point you basically got space colonies, which is basically redcoats going around the galaxy going, "I claim this land for the crown," which people would hate, but I would very much enjoy it. That'd be very very good.
What about the Romans?
Romans, again, I would. That could also work. Same problem with lasers, but again, if you found some way around that, that would be good.
Yeah, well, another one, always find their technology.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Another one, which is my weird category. There was a movie called The Last Starfighter in 1984.
Oh yes, classic.
About a kid who plays a video game that the aliens had sent that video game to Earth to basically find pilots. And then obviously he has to then join the intergalactic alliance to save themselves from a big alien species because he's the best damn pilot around. The CGI was terrible because it was from 1984, but the story is solid. That would make an absolutely fantastic big budget film starring.
Well, it's got to star. So one of the Stranger Things.
Henry Cavill.
Well, Henry Cavill will be in it, obviously. Henry Cavill will be the dad of the kid, though, because the kid, it's meant to be a sort of a younger kid. But I think Jamie's right. One of the Stranger Things kids.
Oh, they'll probably grow out of it by that point.
But at that point, yeah, correct. So basically, yeah, there you go. Brand new child actor that you could find, and that'll work out well. It's such a weird movie. Didn't really take off. Has some bit of a cult following, but I think I think they could do it really well with the right respect, the right treatment to the property. I think that would actually work out very well. And it's totally playing into the dreams of all these kids who just play their video games all day to say like, maybe it means something. And then it's like, yes, because your amazing video game skills, you are the last starfighter, the last chance of saving the galaxy.
Are you saying there's a kid somewhere who's playing all this Call of Duty and this soldier knocks on the door and goes, "Soldier, we're recruiting you for..."
Well, I think that's their dream, but whether it be reality is a different story.
Yeah. What about Short Circuit?
Oh no,
all too much charm.
Too much charm. It was like on that one, you'd say, I don't need to, like, it was perfect as it is. Let's let it.
Because practical effects and all that.
Yeah, because it was mostly practical effects. It was like robots with remote controls and blinking eyes and stuff like that. So they would try to CGI that up too much and make it terrible. So no.
Well, the one that I really, really want is Dino Riders. Like even if they did a new cartoon, give me something.
Dino Riders would be spectacular. I will admit that there isn't a day goes by where I watch. We watch Jurassic Park and go, you are so close to Dino Riders.
Yeah.
You are almost there.
Yeah.
Just Next movie, start riding the dinosaurs. Next
Yeah.
movie, put guns on the dinosaurs' backs as you ride them. You are like you are teetering on the bridge of
Yeah.
what should be there.
I mean, that could make a great. I'd even take the trilogy, like a movie of training them, learning how to ride them, and then the arming them, and then just war.
Basically, so you want How to Train Your Dragon, but with dinosaurs.
Yeah, well, if it gets us to Dino Riders,
Oh, look, you're right. If it gets us to Dino Riders, I am all for it.
100%.
Ryan, any other ones you could think of that you think would be worthwhile you'd want to see explored?
No. See, it's hard because the movies that I watch, I mean, they do try and, like, a lot of the horror movies I watch, they try and do remakes and they're just horrible and
Yeah,
it's just
terrible.
not worth it. Look, I wouldn't mind seeing The Sopranos be redone, but I think that's like asking for perfection to be repeated.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing a, maybe a follow-up or a prequel series to that, perhaps. Showing a lot when the gangsters ran it in the 50s. But honestly, I don't have a lot of faith in remakes. Like, the only good remake and TV show I've seen in a while was Bel Air, which was the remake of the reboot of the Fresh Prince of Bel Air in a more dramatic action thing, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I was a massive fan of the original Fresh Prince. I thought it was great, but I mean, the only ones that I can think of are ones that have already been done, and that's for the horror stuff. For some of my crime shows like CSI, they've already done a reboot. Criminal Minds, they've already done a reboot. Law and Order is still going, so there's no chance of that getting a reboot. I think they're up to season 26 at the moment.
Maybe that's why they keep going. It's like no
Yeah.
one will reboot us.
No, exactly. But no, I just look. I've been burned a lot. RoboCop. That was horrible. I had so much faith for the RoboCop reboot.
Yeah, look, I don't know. Like, it has its charms, I'd say.
It really doesn't. I'm sorry. It to me, it was. I went and saw it on my birthday on the year it came out, and I seriously, it was the worst couple of hours I've seen compared to the original. I mean, the original is gold. It's amazing, and if they tried to they just, to me, it was just a complete and utter rubbish remake, just like The Lion King was, just like Aladdin was, all those kind of. But I've been burnt too many times with reboots. Like, there've been a few amazing ones like Jumanji and stuff like that, but I'm more worried of the state of reboots, where they're going to get to the stage where they're going to come for movies that we love even more.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, but I mean, they've been, and I hope it never happens, but the Back to the Future has been teased for so many years now.
Yeah.
And I hope it never happens, because that is all you need.
See, Jamie's like going, the person, the creator actually then owns it, but I actually don't think that's true. It's just that no one's had interest in it doing it.
No, they keep mentioning it, and then they go over my dead body. The writers and the creators are literally over there. So I reckon when they die, maybe something might happen.
You'd have to look into that, because once a studio publishes a film, they own the fucking rights, unless they bought the rights from the studio. I would think that it's probably the more so that they just have no interest in doing it.
Well, it's Steven Spielberg directed it, so you might have to cross Steven Spielberg.
I just see what they're doing to Indiana Jones and what they they continue to do to movies that we grew up with, and I don't want any more.
But it's weird with Back to the Future, because there's a video game.
Yeah, the Telltale.
But that's a different story.
But see, at the end of the day, the video, I'm fine with doing it in a video game adaptation, because
look, if you want to do another Back to the Future, just do a Rick and Morty film, because that's what Rick and Morty was based upon the fan fiction of Back
Have you
to the
seen the
Future.
short? Have you seen the short video they did with
I have
Christopher Lloyd and
Michael J. Fox.
No, it wasn't Michael J. Fox. It was some other kid. It was actually Rick and Morty.
Oh, as Rick and Morty. Sorry, my bad.
No, I have not seen that.
Haven't you seen that? Like, they did a live action. They did a live action thing.
because that's literally what it's based upon. It's like,
Yeah.
but to Ryan's point, yeah, there's some things that I'll be very scared if they wanted to do it again. One of them being Starship Troopers, obviously.
Mhm.
Like
Well, they've been trying it for ages.
can't improve on perfection. That was perfect. You can't.
Man,
you can't touch that.
I've just ordered the 4K Steelbook collection of the first 3 movies, and I
Mhm.
cannot wait to just especially the first one.
Yep.
To watch it in all its glory, man. But if they ever come near Starship Troopers,
Oh
like, man, shit, nah.
no.
I'm scared. I guess I'm at that age where I'm just like, I'm a massive James Bond fan, and the way that they do that is fine. I am okay with James Bond continuing on because it's James Bond is the code name. It's not the actual.
Yeah, it's the code name of the actual spy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm okay. I've got I have all of them going all the way from Sean Connery down to Daniel Craig, and I have no issue with that because to me that's a continuation of the
spy legacy that is the
yeah,
00
and
series,
if you want to do it like that, that's totally fine. But I mean, I'm DC have let me down too much with some of my favorite heroes, and I'm scared at where that's going to go to.
And sadly, they own a lot of the properties now that we loved, growing up.
So I just sent you guys the live action Rick and Morty if you want to do a reaction.
Not standing.
So it only goes for 40 seconds.
Oh, let me just quickly watch it.
Yeah, I'll do the same. Oh, is that the dude from Stranger Things? The kid?
I don't know.
Noah Schnapp or whatever the fuck his name is. I'm just trying to open it now.
You see, that's what I mean. It's perfect. Like,
yeah, that's one of the young kids from the new Stephen King It movie I was talking about a while ago. So yeah, look, give me, but you've got to do it quick because unfortunately, I hate to say it, but Christopher Lloyd has not got long to go.
No, he's pushing
besides,
90.
if we're doing a Rick and Morty film, Peter Capaldi is playing Rick Sanchez. That's
100%.
That is like the man was built for the role. Like the man
Exactly.
the man was made for the role.
And I recently just saw him in that Nobody movie. It's awesome to see an elderly Christopher Lloyd wielding a shotgun. It's fantastic. So he's still clearly keen to act. But
yeah, that was a great scene where he's like, kills someone with a shotgun, and then the nurse,
the orderly,
walks in the room and he's like, "Oh, I was just watching TV." He's holding this dead guy.
You gotta turn that down. And he's like, yeah, I'll turn it down. And then he's just literally holding a dead guy's mouth, an almost dead guy's mouth by the throat, saying, like the awesome kill that. Shh.
Have you seen that, Chris?
Yep.
Nobody.
That was a good film. See again,
but yeah.
Original idea didn't get much credit because it wasn't John Wick.
Everyone's like, oh, trying to rip off John Wick, and that's why
it was made by the same people.
Yeah, exactly. So how can it be ripping it off if it's been made by the same people?
Yeah.
But anyway, going back, look, at the end of the day, as everyone knows, I'm a massive Batman fan. I'm scared of where it's going to go to next because, it's I don't know.
Look, we trust James Gunn.
We do.
We like 80s music.
Yes.
And so we're going to like whatever James Gunn creates because it's going to be Batman with 80s music. It's clearly like, again, this is just...
Or 70s,
Or 70s, depending on what he feels like the morning he wakes up to write Batman.
Look, I would love to, and this may be controversial, I would love to see DC rebooted but set in the 80s.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that, I guess.
I think I don't think you do need to deal with the James Gunn film. It's already set the 80s. It doesn't matter what time he sets it. Like it's already an 80s film.
Someone came along and outlawed modern music.
Good.
I'm just looking over my movie collection from here while recording, and I look at them. I'm like, I don't want that rebooted. I really don't.
Well, did you know that technically Brendan Fraser, The Mummy, was a reboot?
Yeah. There was an original one. Yeah. And so there you go. There is a great reboot, and then Tom Cruise got his hands on it.
Yeah, and destroyed
Well,
it.
that was a whole. They were trying to reboot the Universal Monsters thing.
Which was such a good idea.
Yeah,
No, that is a good idea, and they had a great Dracula film, and then they did that. So
Yeah.
yeah, because at the end of the day, Dracula Untold was supposed to be the first one,
correct.
and then they were going to do the Mummy, and they were going to do a werewolf movie, and yeah,
Creature, and they're going to do Creature from
Creature of the Black
The
Lagoon.
Black Lagoon,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. But
And
yeah,
it could-
look, at the end of the day, just please, if you're going to just all I say, all the movie producers and everything that listen to our podcast, all I'm saying is please respect the originals, or please respect where you're rebooting from.
and ask
don't
yourself the question: does it need to be
Be
rebooted?
done exactly.
Yep.
Because
Does it
you-
need to? That is a good question.
Because, and here's an interesting fact: when they released the Lion King in 3D, the 2D version, but the cartoon, but in 3D, apparently in some places it made more than its first release,
There you
and
go.
that was just by re-releasing the movie.
Yeah, people like those movies, correct?
Yeah,
It probably cost them very little to do that, so then there you go.
yeah. Like,
But you know what? If they re-release the Back to the Future trilogy in cinemas over 3 months, I would go and see it multiple times.
Oh yeah,
If they say, hey, March we're going to release the first one, April we're going to release the second one, and May we're going to release the third one. No doubt, I would probably see each of them multiple times in the cinemas, just for that experience.
they it's way back when I watched our little local cinema played Blues Brothers,
Oh wow!
and that was packed. Like everyone went out and watched.
Because there's a lot of movies, and that's when they re-released the Star Wars movies, the original trilogy, in cinemas. I went and saw it because I wasn't even born
Yep.
when
Same,
it came out,
same,
and
absolutely.
you know what I mean. Regardless of what people think of the revisited version, it was still awesome to be able to see those movies in the cinema.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I
Agreed.
mean? So, and there's a whole group of people out there that haven't experienced like a Back to the Future or Aliens or Predator, like the original ones in cinemas. And I think there's a market for it rather than rebooting. But yeah, obviously there's rights issues and stuff all through that. But just think about it. I agree with what Jamie said. Does it need to be done?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just yeah.
Does,
There's been more flops than good ones, I will have to say.
now, but okay, compare it to the video game movie curse. Is it this on the same level, or do you reckon one's
No,
worse than the other?
100%. No, the video game curse is unfortunately much worse.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's taken a very long time. Look, I think the new James Wan Mortal Kombat that's come out is pretty close to the adaptation. I think the new Welcome to Raccoon City as a massive Resident Evil fan, the Welcome to Raccoon City film that came out last year is probably the closest adaptation of a Resident Evil movie, and we've had a fucking shit ton of them. But yeah, no, definitely not to the curve. But there's been some good ones. I watched Doom the other night. I'm saying I've just finished playing Doom 3, the redone version on the PlayStation, right?
Yeah.
And then I watched the movie, and the game and Doom 3 are identical. Pretty well, as much as identical as a 2-hour movie could be. So I was happy with that.
You
know
watch
what
it
I
because
mean?
it had The Rock in it.
No, look, I watched it honestly. Carl Urban. I'm sort of going off the rock, as I've mentioned over the last few episodes. But no, honestly, it was same monsters, same company, same storyline, same everything. They clearly based that movie off that particular game. But yeah, I mean, it's not. Again, it's not. That's like 2 movies in the scale of 1 billion. So
Yeah.
Yep.
that curse is strong.
But I guess the point is, reboots are going to continue to happen.
Yeah, they are.
They have mined all of the 80s properties.
Yep.
And so now they'll turn their attention to the 90s and and then once they've done that, they probably might go back to the 80s and mine it some more. But again, we'll see how they go on this vicious cycle.
I don't know why they don't just go back to like the 1930s.
Remake the silent movies.
Yeah, but make them
Well,
loud.
In what you just said, Chris, I will say we did get Cobra Kai.
Sure,
Even though that's a continuation, it is a continuation.
Yeah.
But that's an 80s property that got bought to me. And that, to me, the 5 seasons we have is absolute gold.
You know, you're right. Again,
Yeah.
if you can, again, but it touches to your point. Done with care
Yeah,
and
exactly.
reverence to the
Respect the
source.
Yeah.
And if you can do that, but then I still maintain there must be some sort of alien invasion or some sort of like monkeys in charge of Hollywood, because some people seem to understand that. Then others try to copy them and then go, let's not respect the source and let's make our own thing. It's like going, well, no, the blueprint is literally in front of you, and yet you can't seem to follow it. But again,
the amount of movies that have been made just so that the writers and directors can say this is the name of the movie. You know what I mean? Like it's got nothing to do with the source material. Yep. We're just going to slap this name on it and tell our own story. And in that, if that's fine, if you want to tell your own story, just don't call it that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100% agree.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think we talked about this, but the Han Solo movie probably would have been all right if it wasn't called Han Solo and it wasn't Han Solo.
Yep.
like, you know.
Well, I'll even go you one further. That horrible Josh Trank Fantastic Four movie would have been a great movie if it wasn't called the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, it was about people with weird powers who then like, you know.
So basically Heroes, but the movie.
Well, I went into I saw that in a cinema with a mate of mine, Tim, who knew nothing about comics at the time, and he enjoyed it. He thought it was a great sci-fi movie. And I said, I agree. It was a great sci-fi movie. It was a horrible Fantastic Four movie, but it was a great sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
So that's another perfect example of let's just take the name and shit all over it.
Yeah.
Yep. Name sells things.
Mm-hmm. Name will get people through the door, but you got to think, if it's a good movie, it'll get people through the door more than once.
Yeah.
Yep. Once again, proving James Cameron is correct with his Avatar film, sadly. Now, Jamie, if anyone has any thoughts, feedbacks, comments, hate mail directed to Ryan, where can they find us?
Send us an email to thetrueandthefictional@gmail.com or on Instagram, stories_podcast. We are also on Facebook, but it's not really that active there. And yeah, check us out on YouTube as well, because we have videos every now and again. All our Story Chat episodes are on there, on Stories the True and the Fictional on YouTube. Yeah, and if you're an author and you want to come on the show, you want to talk about your book, feel free to reach out. And we're going to start doing something maybe soon about sharing some of authors' works, maybe snippets from their books or blogs or whatever, anything creative. Yeah, we'd love to share and love to support you authors out there.
Outstanding. And on that wonderfully glorious silent pause, we'll bid you, as we do, as the French say. I was about to make a French joke, then I've actually like rented myself.
You should have said, as the French say, I surrender.
I was about to say that. I was literally about to say, as the French say, as when the Germans arrive, adieu.